One name Bante. Bante, you are on mute. We are not able to hear you. Bante, you are on mute, Bante. We are not able to hear you.
Buddhaya.
Yes, Bante, we can hear you. Namo Buddhaya.
Very, very good morning and very good evening to you, Pankajji. And very hearty welcome to one and all the Upasakas, Upasikas who have come here, and also all those who are online. We will begin the puja now. Today, we offer puja for all of you, especially Mrs. Varuni Veerasinghe, dedicated to Kulani Veerasinghe in Canada. May all the merits come to Kulani Veerasinghe. Oh, so wonderful. Our Upasaka Balakrishna ji is here and today is his birthday. May all the blessings of Triple Gem come to you, Balakrishna ji, and may your practice go on very well, and may all the works that you are doing be successful and beneficial to one and all. So we will offer puja in your name also. And today we offer also puja in the name of one Upasika Amma who passed away, Mr. Gandhi's auntie. We offer puja in her name also. Yes. Pachayino chattaro dhamma vadhanti ayuvanno sukhang balang. May your dana bear great merits. Sukhi hotu. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddha Bhagavanta Abhivade Swakhato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
नमो तस्सा भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्सा इति पिसो भगवा अरहं सम्मा सम्बुद्धो विद्याचरण संपन्नो सुगतो लोकविदु अनुतरो पुरुषधम्म सारथि साथा देव मनुष्यानं बुद्धो भगवति नमो तस्स सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्सा ये च बुद्धा अतीता च ये च बुद्धा अनागता पच्चुपन्ना च ये बुद्धा अहं वन्दामि सर्वदा नत्थि मे शरणं अन्यं बुद्धो मे शरणं वरम् एतेन सच वज्रेन होतु नो जयमङ्गलम् उत्तमङ्गेन वन्देऽहं पादपं सुवरोत्तमं बुद्धेयो खलितो दोषो बुद्धो खमतु तं मम बुद्धं यावन्निब्बानपर्यन्तं शरणं गच्छामि स्वाखातो भगवता धम्मो सन्दिठिको अकालिको एहिपसिको उपनयिको पश्चात्तं वेदितव्यो विन्युहिति नमो तस्स नियानिकास्स धम्मास्स ये च धम्मा अतीता च ये च धम्मा अनागता पच्चुपन्ना च ये धम्मा अहं वन्दामि सर्वदा नत्थि मे शरणं अन्यं धम्मो मे शरणं वरम् एतेन सच वज्रेन होतु ते जयमङ्गलम् उत्तमङ्गेन वन्देऽहं धम्मं च त्रिविधं वरम् धम्मेयो खलितो दोषो धम्मो खमतु तं मम धम्मं यावन्निब्बानपर्यन्तं शरणं गच्छामि सुपतिपन्नो भगवतो सावकसङ्घो उजुपतिपन्नो भगवतो सावकसङ्घो न्यायपतिपन्नो भगवतो सावकसङ्घो सामीचिपतिपन्नो भगवतो सावकसङ्घो यदिदं चत्वारि पुरुषयुगानि अथ पुरुषपुद्गल एष भगवतो सावकसङ्घो पाहुनीय पाहुनीय दक्षिणीय अंजलिकरणीय अनुत्तरं पुण्यं खेतं लोकासाति नमो तस्स आचार्य पुद्गल महासंघस ये च संघा अतीता च ये च संघा अनागता पच्चुपन्ना च ये संघ अहं वन्दामि सर्वदा नत्थि मे शरणं अन्यं संघो मे शरणं वरम् एतेन सच वज्रेन होतु ते जयमङ्गलम् उत्तमङ्गेन वन्देऽहं Sangham Sati Viduttama Sanghiyo Khalito Doso Sangho Khamatu Tangamam Sangham Yavanibana Pariyantam Saranam Gacchami Evam Buddhang Sarantana Dhammang Sangham Cha Bhikkhavo Mayang Vacham Vitattang Va Lomahang So Nahesati Ganasara Paditena Dipena Tamadhang Sina Tilokadipam sambuddham Pujayami tamonudam Gandha sambharayotina Dupena hang sugandhina Pujaye pujaniyantang Puja bhajanamottamam Vanagandha gunupetang etang kusuma santati Pujayami munindassa siripada saruruhe Pujemi buddhang kusume nanena punyena metena cahotu mukha Upam milayati yatha idang me kaya tatha yati vinasa bhavang nirodha samma patito utaitva nisinnasaviya bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Imina dipina dhupina puphena pujemi 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 imang dipadhupa pupha pujadi nama sakala sambuddhana paceka buddhana Aggasawakanang mahasawakanang arahantanang pakatisilang aham piti sang anuwatthakohomi imani puphani vanne napi suvanna gandhina sugandham santhanena susanthana khipame vaduvanna dugandham dusanthana papunisati evame vasabbe sankhara anicca sabbe sankhara dukkha sabbe dhamma anattati imaya dhamma nudhamma patipattiya buddhang pujemi imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya dhammang pujemi imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya sanghang pujemi Vandami cetiyang sabbang sabbatane supatitita saririka dhatung mahabodhi buddha rupang sakalang sada yasamule nisinno va sabbari vijayang aka Pato sabbanyutang sattha vandetang bodhipadapa ime ete mahabodhi lokanathena pujitang aham pite namasami bodhiraja namatute. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Vipatti patibahaya sabba sampatti siddhya sabba dukkham vinasaya sabba bhayam vinasaya sabba rogam vinasaya bhave digayukadayakam sabba lokam hitathaya Paritantang bhanamahe samanta cakavalesu atra gaccantu devata saddhammang munirajasa sunantu saggamokhadam dhamma sawana kalo ayang badanda Dhamma sawana kalo ayang badanda Dhamma sawana kalo ayang badanda Paritta sawana kalo ayang badanda Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Karaniyamata kusalena yantang santang padang abhisamecha sakko ujuca sujuca suvacoca samudvanatimani santu sakoca subharoca apakicoca sallahu kauti Santingriya cha nipako cha apagabho kulesu ananugida nacha khuddam samachare kinchi yena vinyo pare upavadeyum sukhino vakhemino hontu sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitata eke cipana bhutati tasavata varava anavasesa digava ye mahantava majjhima rasakanu katula ditthava yeva aditha ye chadure vasanti avidure bhutava sambhave siva sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitata na paro parang niko betha nati manyetha katha chinang kanchi vyarosana patigha sainya nainya manya sadukhamecheya mata yatha niyam putta ayusa eka putta manurake evam pisabba bhutesu manasam bhavaye aparimana metanca sabbalokasmi manasam bhavaye aparimana odham adhocatiriyanca asambadham averang asapata ithang charang nisinno sayano vayavata savigatamedo etang sating adittheya brahma metang viharang idmaho ditthim sa anupagamma sila dasanena sampanno kamesu viniyagedham Nai Zatu Gapasya Punariti Dukha Pata Chani Dukha Bhaya Pata Chani Bhaya Soka Pata Chani Soka Hantu Sabbe Pipanino Etina Sachavajena Sotite Hotu Sabada Etina Sachavajena Sabadukha Vinasatu Etina Sachavajena Sababhaya Vinasatu Etina Sachavajena Sabbaroga Vinasatu Etina Sachavajena Hotu Te Jaya Mangalam Etina Sachavajena Patu Te Ratanataya Sabbitiyo vivajanto sabbarogo vinasatu mati bhavatu antarayo sukhi dīghāyuko bhava bhavatu sabba mangalam rakhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakhantu Sabba Devata Sabba Dhammanubhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakhantu Sabba Devata Sabba Sanghanubhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te Nakhataya Kabhutana Papaggaha Nivarana Parittasanubhavena Hontu Me Upadave Deva Vasatu Kalena Sasa Sampatti Hetu Cha Fitu Bhavatu Loko Cha Raja Bhavatu Dhammiko Yandu Nimitang Avamangalam Cha Yo Cha Manapo Sakuna Sasatu Papaggaho Dusupina Akanta Buddhanubhavena Vinasamendo Yandu Nimitang Avamangalam Cha Yo Cha Manapo Sakuna Sasato Papaggaho Dusupina Akanta Dhammanubhavena Vinasamendo Yandu Nimitang Avamangalam Yo Cha Manapo Sakuna Sasato Papaggaho Dusupina Akanta Sanghanubhavena Vinasamendo Akasatha Cha Bhummata Devanaga Mahindrika Punyam Tang Anumodetva Chirang Rakhantu Sasanam Akasatha Cha Bhummata Devanaga Mahindrika Punyam Tang Anumodetva Chirang Rakhantu Desanam Akasatha Cha Bhummata Devanaga Mahindrika Punyam Tang Anumodetva Chirang rakhantu mang parang etawata ca amhe sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya etawata ca amhe sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya etawata ca amhe sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya nibbana sampatti siddhya idang odhyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idang odhyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idang odhyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo sabbe buddha balapata paccekanam cayang balam arahantanam catizina rakhang bandhami sapaso sabbe dhamma balapata Arya Satchanan Sayang Balam Dhamma Chakka Rakhang Bandhami Sapaso Sabbi Sangha Balapata Vimotanan Chayang Balam Sasana Sati Jina Rakhang Bandhami Sapaso Kayena Vaca Cittena Pamadena Maya Katang Acayang Kamame Bhante Bhuri Panya Tathagata Kayena Vaca Cittena Pamadena Maya Katang Acayang Kamame Dhammo Sanditiko Akalito Kayena Vaca Cittena Pamadena Maya Katang Acayang Kamame Sangho Punya Ketang Anuttara Imena Punya Kamena Mame Bala Samagamo Satang Samagamo Hotu Yawa Nibbana Patiya Idang me punya kamang asavakayang wang hotu sabba dukkha pamuccatu nibbana sapaccayo hotu sadhu sadhu sadhu.
Namo Buddhaya. Homage to the Triple Gem. Homage to Bada Banteji. Homage to Kasapa Banteji. Homage to Sangha here. Dear venerable monks, upasakas, upasikas who are present here, and upasakas and upasikas who are online. Very, very hearty welcome and very good morning to you all once again. Most welcome to Mahabodhi Society Bengaluru, and also I welcome for the comprehensive course on Buddhism, 3 months Varshavasa course that is going on. Dear Upasakas and Upasikas, the spiritual development, the mental development, or progress towards freedom and enlightenment is nothing but developing 5 faculties, that is Saddha, faith, Virya, that is effort, Sati, mindfulness, Samadhi, concentration, and Panya, wisdom. Now all these 5 indriyas, spiritual faculties can be developed in a proper way, rightly, when your Tisarana is strong, is stable, and it becomes a guiding force for all the 5 faculties to grow. When you take Trisarana in Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, all these 5 faculties will start growing. It is for the purpose of fulfilling, developing these 5 faculties that you take Trisarana, and then you commit yourself to this ultimate supreme goal of any living being in the universe, that is to attain the arhatship, full enlightenment. So we go to the Buddha for refuge because that is our goal. We go to Dhamma for refuge because that is our path. We go to Sangha for refuge because Sangha is the guide and protectors who will lead us to this ultimate goal. So life, we have 2 objectives. One is to exist, survive happily in this world, here and now, and make this life as journey towards enlightenment. So that is the purpose of life. So when you take refuge, this is what it means. So with this understanding, now Upasakas and Upasikas, please take forgiveness and then Trisarana and Panchashila. And I request Pankajji, who is online from Denver, and who is the moderator for this 3 months Varshavasa course. So faithfully organizing week after week. Now I request Pankajji to lead this Trisarana and Panchashila.
Thank you very much, Bhante. On behalf of all the participants, I would request all the participants to please hold your hand. We will make Kshamayachana and Panchashiliyachana to Bhante. Okasa vandami Bhante Dwaratayena मया कृतं तदपराधं क्षमतु मे भन्ते। द्वितीयंपि ओकासवन्दामि भन्ते। द्वारत्रयेन मया कृतं तदपराधं क्षमतु मे भन्ते। तृतीयंपि ओकासवन्दामि भन्ते। द्वारत्रयेन मया कृतं तदपराधं क्षमतु मे भन्ते। ओकास अहं भन्ते। तीसरणेन सह पंचशीलं धम्मं याचामि। अनुग्रहं कृत्वा शीलं देथ मे भन्ते। द्वितीयंपि ओकास अहं भन्ते। तीसरणेन सह पंचशीलं धम्मं याचामि। अनुग्रहं कृत्वा शीलं देथ मे भन्ते। तृतीयंपि ओकास अहं भन्ते। तीसरणेन सह पंचशीलं धम्मं याचामि। अनुग्रहं कृत्वा शीलं देथ मे भन्ते।
यमहं वदामि तं वदेथ।
भन्ते।
नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स।
नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स। नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स। नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स।
बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि।
धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि।
धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि।
धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि।
संघं शरणं गच्छामि।
संघं शरणं गच्छामि।
द्वितीयंपि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि।
द्वितीयंपि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि।
द्वितीयंपि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि।
द्वितीयंपि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि।
द्वितीयंपि संघं शरणं गच्छामि।
द्वितीयंपि संघं शरणं गच्छामि।
तृतीयंपि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि।
तृतीयंपि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि।
तृतीयंपि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि।
तृतीयंपि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि।
तृतीयंपि संघं शरणं गच्छामि।
तृतीयंपि संघं शरणं गच्छामि।
शरणगमनं परिपूर्णं
आं भन्ते।
पानातिपाता वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादियामि।
पानातिपाता वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादियामि।
आदिन्नादाना वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादियामि।
अदिन्नादाना वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादियामि।
कामेषु मिच्छाचारा वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादियामि।
कामेषु मिच्छाचारा वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादियामि।
मुसावादा वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादियामि।
मुसावादा वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादियामि।
सूरामेरया मज्जापमादत्थाना वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादियामि।
शूरामेरयमद्यपमादट्ठाना वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादियामि।
ईशरणेन सद्धिं पञ्चशीलं धम्मं साधुकं सुरक्षितं कत्वा अपमादेन सम्पादेथ
Bhante sadhu sadhu sadhu. Thank you very much, Bhante, for the Tisaran and Panchasil. Again, I welcome all for the comprehensive course on Buddhism. We are continuing with our topic that we started yesterday, that is shining the light of wisdom. This is section 5 we are starting, and today is week 12, session 2 of our overall course. The topic for the day is the domain of wisdom, the 4 ways of 4 noble truths, the way of 4 noble truths, and catechism on the 5 aggregates. Our teacher today is Venerable Bhikkhu Buddhadatta. Bhante, I request you to please start the course and give us some meditation at the beginning, Bhante. Thank you very much, Bhante.
Thank you very much, Pankaj ji. Let us meditate for a few minutes. Today, the topic is about wisdom. Since yesterday, this topic is being discussed. Let us calmly observe our mind as it is. Let us calmly observe our body as it is. This observation as it is means to know as it really is. That is development of wisdom. Smile, feel relaxed. Let us observe few breaths very peacefully. Observe your breath. As it comes in, as it goes out. May all beings be happy and be peaceful. Smile and give metta to all beings. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings enjoy peace, happiness, Dhamma, and grow in Dhamma. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sabba dhammanubhavena sabba sanghanubhavena sada sutti bhavantu te. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Today, as Mr. Pankajji has announced, the Dhamma teacher is Venerable Bhikkhu Buddhadatta Bhanteji. He is also the director of our Mahabodhi Research Center, and he is the main organizer of this course, comprehensive course on Buddhism. A wonderful course. Just we were going through the topics a few days back. It was such a wonder to know that you have heard so many important topics for your life. Unbelievable. So you are all so fortunate, dear participants of this course, and also, of course, our Sunday program devotees here. Now let us enjoy the next very important topic. This is on wisdom. So I request Buddhadatta Bhanteji.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, homage to the Perfect One, homage to the Supremely Awakened One, the Buddha, homage to the noble teachings, the Dhamma, homage to the holy order of the monks, the Sangha, and salutation to our most respected Venerable Teacher, Bhadabhantichi, and salutation to our Abbot, Most Venerable Kassapa Bhante, respected Anand Bhante, and the Holy Bhikkhu Sangha, dear Venerable monks, Upasakas and Upasikas, and friends in the Dhamma. Namo Buddhaya to everyone. I will just now start the topic today with a gatha from the Dhammapada, from the Buddha Vagga. It is about the true refuges and what is the path which is leading to the cessation of all suffering. Buddha said, Yocha buddhancha dhammancha sanghancha saranangato chattari ariya sachani sammapanyaya passati dukkhang dukkha samupadang dukkhassacha nirodha dukkha nirodha gamini. This is the path. The Buddha said in the Dhammapada that dukkhang dukkha samupadang dukkhassacha atikkamang ariyancha thangikang maggang dukkha upasamaгаminang. This is about the path itself. The Buddha says, he who has gone refuse to the Buddha and his teachings and his holy order penetrates with transcendental insight the Four Noble Truths, the suffering, the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path leading to the cessation of suffering. As we are discussing today, today's the topic is the shining the light of wisdom. And this is in the threefold or the three-tier teachings of the Buddha. You have already learned about the sila, that is the morality. You extensively learned about sila, the benefits of sila, and how to practice or purify the sila in your lives. So also a few of the sessions you learned about the samadhi, that is how to make your mind calm and concentrated. The samadhi, which deals with the cultivation of the mind or development of mind, and is also forms as the base for the development of wisdom. Now coming to the wisdom part, wisdom is a light, because there is no sublime or highest light than the wisdom, because it illuminates the hearts, and at the same time it also removes the darkness of defilements from the mind. Wisdom is also a very sharp knife. That means it cuts through all the mental defilements, all the subtler and refined defilements from the mind, and thereby it transcends the mind from the bondages of worldly existence. Now, wisdom should be developed in a very insightful manner. Wisdom is understanding the noble truths. That is the highest kind of wisdom. With wisdom that which penetrates into the noble truths and see the things as they truly are, then it actually removes all the causes and condition of suffering. Now, how the Buddha said that in many of the occasions that by not understanding these Four Noble Truths, the Buddha said, "O monks, by not understanding or not penetrating these noble truths, that is the suffering, the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path leading to the cessation of suffering," he says, "you and me, we have been long enough traveled in the samsara endlessly and aimlessly, not finding a way to liberation." Now, such is importance of this understanding the noble truths. And it is impossible for a spiritual person or a truth seeker to be free or to enjoy the freedom without having understood these Four Noble Truths. So one has to break through these Four Noble Truths with insight, with wisdom. Then only the path of vimutti, the path of freedom, will open up. That is how the practice reaches to the climax, reaches to the highest level, where no doubt sila helps us to remove suffering at certain level, at the coarse level, when we avoid wrong or misconduct. Then we cultivate goodness in our life. We are free from some suffering. And then samadhi, through samadhi, we try to, let go our unwholesome thoughts from the mind. And we cultivate all the good thoughts, wholesome thoughts, and we don't allow any negative thoughts to come into the mind. But unless we develop wisdom, then it is impossible to completely eradicate the suffering. That is why wisdom is of highest importance. Now, in the very first Noble Truth, today we are discussing about the Noble Truths, how one should penetrate, how one should understand the Arya Satya, the Four Noble Truths, Dukkha Satya, Dukkha Samudaya, Dukkha Nirodha, and Dukkha Nirodha Gamini. To the Buddha in the very first discourse, that is the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, he summarized his entire teachings in he gave a framework of his 45 years of mission of compassion. He put the entire teaching in a very brief version, and that is the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. And that is the sum and substance of the teachings. And what does the Buddha taught in that sutta? The Buddha discovered the Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Path, and he made known this teaching into the world. Because he says these Four Noble Truths is very relevant, which is essential to eradicate human problems. In one occasion, the Buddha was staying and walking through the woods, and he just take a handful of leaves in his hand, and he asked, "O monks, can you answer me, these leaves are more or the leaves in the forest are more?" So the Bhantes replied, "O Lord, the trees in the forest are enormous, are so many, endless. But the leaves in the hand is very few, limited. But they are the essence." The Buddha said, "Similarly, I teach you only those that is relevant, essentials, which is necessary and directly penetrating into the human problems. That will shine forth, illuminates the people's heart, and it removes the suffering." We don't have to learn so many things in the world. For a spiritual seeker or a truth seeker, they have to know the Four Noble Truths. The more deeper you understand the Four Noble Truths, then the more deep you understand the Dhamma. Ultimately, our life, everything boils down to these truths. When you understand or enlightened being, how do they get enlightenment? By shining this light of wisdom through their hearts, they understand the suffering. They understand where does this suffering arises, the causes. And the causes has to be abandoned, has to be removed, has to be diagnosed. And then what is the path? One who realizes, yes, this is the path leading to the cessation of suffering, then one will practice that Dhamma. One will exert. You should put the exertion to fulfill or to perfect the Noble Eightfold Path. And again, the Noble Eightfold Path starts with Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. Now, this is the Buddha's in the first discourse, or we will also rather look into the first three discourses, then you understand the Buddha's teaching. The first one, Dhammacakka Sutta, as the Buddha analyzes the Noble Truths in four different aspects, four different distinct ways. The Four Noble Truths, the Buddha said, it has to be seen in the Tiparivattang, the three different angles. Each truth again become threefold. And then 3 multiplies into 12. He says, Dukkhan cheva, Dukkhan Arya Satyang Parineyata Banti Me Bhikkhave. The Noble Truth should be comprehended. Yes, this is suffering, but not only just merely admitting, yes, this is suffering, you will not understand the truth. This is not Noble Truths. Ordinarily, you understand, yes, there is suffering. But suffering should be comprehended in an ultimate sense, both physically, both mentally, and up to the level of the 5 aggregates. You should go to the core of your own life and you discover where is that suffering. Is it suffering because of the day-to-day life encounters or day-to-day life meeting with or departing with the people which you like or associating with those you dislike or only sickness, disease, old age or death and so on. But suffering also has to be comprehended in a more subtler way. Because suffering is very much there at the level of aggregates. We should go deep into the aggregates, the Panchakhanda, Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana. How does those aggregates also, we should understood, how does that aggregate takes place? What is the cause of formation of those aggregates? How do those aggregates ceases? And what is the path leading to the cessation of those Panchakhanda? So like a scientist, you have to analyze very scientifically. Buddhism is nothing but the science of mind, the science of spirituality, where you have to analyze, you have to dissect, you have to penetrate into each and everything, every existence. So, coming to this about the dukkha, dukkhaṃ arya saccang pariññāyanti bhikkhave. Then the Buddha said, dukkhaṃ arya saccang pariññātabbanti me bhikkhave. When you understood completely, as the Buddha said, in totality, in entirety, with all the causes and conditions, by way of aggregates, by way of elements, by way of the six senses, by understanding the Paticca Samuppada, then you know really what is the Buddha meant of the suffering. Then in another step, Buddha analyzes the causes of suffering. One has to actually, removes, abandons those causes. Yes, there is suffering. Like a person who is suffering from very serious illness. Then in the last discourses, I also explained about the 5 hindrances, how the 5 hindrances works. And then when you know the causes, and then you remove those causes. So removal or abandonment is equally important. When you abandon, pahatabbang, in Pali it is called dukkha samudayang pahatabbanti me bhikkhave. That has to be abandoned. Give up completely. Then the same way the Buddha analyzes dukkha samudaya, it has to be pahatabbang, and then pahinanti me bhikkhave. And then cessation, the dukkha nirodha, equally important. Yes, there is a way to the cessation of suffering, but you have to realize that. Most of the people, they don't realize. If there is no path, a way out of the suffering, then the Buddha wouldn't have teachers take the trouble to teach us the Dhamma. There is nothing called happiness. Then we are all the time, we're constantly suffering. There is happiness. There is happiness called Nibbana, the supreme bliss of happiness. Right? When a person who is ill or very sick, then when he, take the medicines, then he is free from that illness and he feel ease, he feel happy, he has good health. Similarly, when we are constantly tortured, constantly burned by these defilements of greed, hatred, and anger, then do you think that happiness would ever come to you? So there arises these causes. The cause is right there in the heart. When you understand the cause, and there is a cessation, the cessation of dukkha. The Buddha said, Yotasaiva tanhaya asesa viraga nirodho. You have to be dispassionate, turning away from that suffering. Asesa viraga nirodho, and cessation, complete fading away, reminderless of that very craving. Chago patinisaggo, mutyanalayo. Then that is, you call that cessation of suffering. So the cause is craving, no doubt, craving, and that craving which is rooted with deep ignorance in our mind. And the Nirodhagamini Patipada. Nirodhagamini Patipada we have to understood in the form of Eightfold Path, the Noble Eightfold Path. The Noble Eightfold Path is not simply by, Sammanditthi, Samma Sankappo, Samma Vacha, Samma Kamanto, but unless and until you put into practice of those path factors, then you are not actually developing it. Development of path is possible only when you practice it, not simply by theorizing or memorizing it. The path is right there. The path is in front of us. That's why the Buddha says there is no greater path than this Eightfold Path. This is the path to which will lead you to the extinction of sufferings. But the path is laid down, but there is no traveler. We have the path, but there is no traveler who is willing to travel on that path. That is the biggest problem. Out of compassion, the Buddha had shown us this path. We have to walk on that. But to walk on the path, we should have understanding of what is that path. Right? It should be bhavetapa. It should be developed. So this is all about, in a very summarized way, we analyze the first sutta. In the second sutta, Lord Buddha again goes deeper to remove that notion of self and to break that self illusion, the ditti, the view of something permanent, something eternal. The Buddha gave a wonderful discourse called Anatta Lakhana Sutta, where he analyzes that how this anatta, how one should actually understood, penetrates with insight. With insight, with wisdom, one has to know what are those khandhas. And that's the Buddha analyzed the rupa, vedana, sanya, sankhara, and vijnana, the panchakhanda. And he said the panchakhanda is devoid of any core, absence of any personality. How one should understand? If the form is really ours, if that form, the rupa which we are having now, if you say my body remains like that ever, may I be youthful like this, may I be beautiful like this, may my body remains healthy all the time. Does your body listen to you? If your body doesn't listen to you, that means it is changing. You are no more the same. Change it incessantly, continuously, that it changes in the body. That's why the Buddha says very, in an analogy, Buddha says the rupa is just like a lump of foam, fena. Phenupaman. Just this rupa is just like a lump of foam. When you see there is no core, it's empty. Sooner or later, it will break apart. And there is hole. You might have seen that foam, very big chunk of foam, but it looks something is there. But when you really touch it and see and go very closer, then you realize there is nothing. So rupa is by nature is changing, and whatever is changing, that is, Buddha asked, is it satisfactory or unsatisfactory? Buddha said, whatever is changing, it is dukkha, and whatever is anicca and dukkha, then that is undoubtedly there is no core substance, there is no atta. How we can relate that? There is something substantial in that. So that I making or my making, I or me and mine, this is a big illusion. But how does one understand it? If I say like that, people say, well, is it? I am so and so, I have this identity, I've come to this world, I have this level and that level, you see. But ultimately, when you go to Kanchakhanda, then there is no me, no mine, no I. So the Rupa is like that. One has to understand the Rupa. And this Rupa is again in a subtler way, the Buddha analyzed in another way in Aditya Pariyaya Sutta, that how everything is burning. But let's say we have another khanda called Vedana. Vedana is even more subtler. The Vedana, the Buddha compared the feelings with water bubble. You know, when there is a rainy season, you may have seen the water bubble on the surface level of in our street or in the road, or might have seen in the river. But that feeling is just compared with that water bubble so fast, you're going to catch it and just burst. You cannot catch hold of that water bubble. One after another, it just formed. And we think that, whoa, that feeling is really something very pleasant or unpleasant, right? We're going to attach to that feeling, but most of the time, to our, dissatisfaction, we end up with losing that feeling, you see. So happiness or pleasant or unpleasant feeling, or even neither pleasant nor unpleasant, all those feelings are also subject to change. There's no permanent entity in that feeling. You see. Now, if you go further, how does that feeling arises? Does that feeling really belongs to you? Then you see, we have the I base, we have the 6 bases and the counter objects, Chakhu, Sota, Ghana, Jiva, Kaya, Mano. Then we have Rupa, Saddha, Gandha, Rasa, Pottabha, and the Dhamma. These are the counter objects. And these, when the I came in contact with the object or the form, then there is contact happens. Constantly our sense organs are, are being contacted, or we encounters these objects, and the constant impression of eyes with the visible objects and so forth. And then based on that contact, then we have the feelings, right? If there is no eye, there is no rupa, nothing, and there is no consciousness, do you think that any feeling ever arises there? There is no feeling. So how would you relate that? That feeling is me, that feeling is mine. I want happiness. We seek. We always attach to happy feelings, and we always hate and dislike the unhappy feelings. So feeling has a tremendous influence on our mind, and the feeling itself is a khanda. If you analyze in Abhidhamma point of view, then we have Vedana is a very big, mental factors. We have 52 mental states, and the 50 comes under sankharas, but Vedana and Sanya alone are different. So then we come to perception. Perception is, Buddha said, it's like a mirage. You are traveling in the desert alone, lonely, and you see in a very far distance, if you see some objects, or you may see some, clouds, then, or something, some objects ahead of you, and you may imagine that, oh, this must be a kind of stream or some water you may see. But actually, in reality, when you walk very close, and you discover there is nothing. So Sanya actually, enchant the human mind in such a way. It's a very tricky thing. Sanya always deceives us. We perceive certain things in a perverted view, and then we not with reality, not with wisdom. So Sanya is a mirage that you have to keep it in mind. Then how does the Sanya? We have Rupa Sanya, Saddha Sanya, Gandha Sanya, right? So why that Sanya arises? Because of that contact again. When there is a contact, first then Vedana, then Sanya arises. Then you cognize, you perceive the sense objects. But that Sanya, we cannot say that is Panya or that is wisdom. Sanya is different, Panya is different altogether. Then we have called Sankharas. Sankhara is, the Buddha give very good example of a big trunk of a banana trunk. When a person goes into and take the banana tree and he just cut off from the bottom and from the crown, and he try to remove and searching for the core wood. What is there in that banana trunk? Layers after layers, one may remove, take out one layer, another layer, and then finally found nothing inside. So sankharas are constant formation of karma formation, or the volitional formation. He just sankhatang dhammang, he just continuously, like a river which is carrying all sort of debris, all sort of even jewels or gems, So sankhara is like a carrier like a river which carries everything. Sankhara is like that. And sankhara can be seen in terms of, we say, avijja pachaya sankhara. If you analyze in Paticcasamuppada, avijja, depending on ignorance, then sankhara takes place. When you analyze in terms of ahara, what exactly that feed on, that give us that nutrition for the sankhara is the manosanchetana. The chetana, that volition, that constantly stimulates the mental conditioning, the sankharas, right? So sankharas can be only intentional, only actions or volitional actions. It can be conditioned thing or some karma formations. In Paticcasamuppada, it is a karma formation. It's a bhava sankharas. I will not go into detail because it is very deep and it cannot be elaborated on, explained in one class, one session. But just to give a summary of it. Then we have Vijnana. Vijnana is, the Buddha says, is a magical illusion, a magician. You see, like a magician who can show you, display different kind of magics. That person may just stand here and suddenly he disappears and then appears in somewhere else. He can take different forms. So Vijnana, one Vijnana can be many. Like one magic person can be many, you see, with his illusion. You might have seen magic, right? And you find very delightful and very enchanting. So the magical illusion, Vijnana. So, and that Vijnana, if you analyze in terms of Four Noble Truths, and you see Vijnana is a khanda, aggregates, that which, we have the Vijnana khanda of 89 chittas, and that 89 can become 121 consciousness, if analyzed in terms of Abhidhamma. But mostly the Vijnana, which is explained in the Paticcasamuppada, we have Chakku Vijnana, Sota Vijnana, Ghana, Jiva, and Kaya, and Mano Vijnana. And that Vijnana, which gives rise to Namarupa, Namarupa Pachaya Salayatana, Salayatana Pachaya Phaso, Vedana, and so on in the Paticcasamuppada. So you have to understand these Panchakhanda in very minutely, in very detail, then we understand the noble truths completely. So coming to the other suttas, the Buddha says that everything is burning. Now we analyze, yes, Panchakhanda is like that. The nature of this Panchakhanda is non-self. It is impermanent. And because of that Panchakhanda is non-self and impermanent, that is why it brings us suffering. Suffering due to the dynamic change. Suffering in not terms of micro level, is very, micro level. Then we have this sutta called Aditya Pariyaya Sutta, where the Buddha explains about how the Chakhu, Sota and Ghana, all our sense faculties, and their counter objects, Rupa, the form, or the sound, or the odor, or the taste, or the bodily or tactile sensations, and even the mental aramanas, the objects, how they are burning. Burning because when we perceive the things with greed, with hatred, and with ignorance, with delusions, then actually it's burning because of craving, you see, not physically, not in ordinary sense. We have to perceive it in a more deeper way, because we consider whatever impermanent as permanent, non-self as self, and whatever is unsatisfactory, we perceive or we understand it is as something which is pleasant. That is how the chain of reactions that's on then starts and goes on and continues. So that's why this discourse is very interesting. The Buddha delivered to the 1,000 of fire worshippers, the 1,000 monks, the bhikkhus, who are actually the fire worshippers, jatilas. They are all fire worshippers, and the Buddha gives the example of fire, and it is known as the fire sermon. So in there also the Buddha again removes, and after listening the discourses, all of them, they became enlightened. The light of wisdom illuminated in their heart, and they understood the noble truths. They realized the cessation, the truth, the suffering, the cause, and the cessation, and the path leading to the cessation of dukkha. So I have already said a sutta called about this Panchakhanda, how one should understand these 5 aggregates, and how this should be, understood with right view. Right view. Now right view is also wisdom. Like in the previous lessons, you also understand, you learned about right view. What is exactly right view? The one who has right view, then only he can proceed and go along on this path of Noble Eightfold Path. So now here we understood that how the consciousness is devoid of self, or it is impermanent and subject to change and bring about the sufferings. So for a understanding person, one who seeks his own happiness, or one who promotes, want to gain or remove that causes of suffering, then one has to thoroughly understand these 4 noble truths again. One has to understand what is dukkha, the suffering. And the main thing is that removing the clinging and the attachment which we have towards unknowingly, ignorantly, towards these 5 aggregates. So the nama rupa, again the 5 aggregates boils down to nama and rupa. We have nama, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana. They comes under nama. And then we have the rupa, which is called the corporeality or the forms. So there you are. It's very profound and very deep, but when you analyze it in terms of point of view of sutta and also in terms of Abhidhamma, then you'll have a very deeper clarity on entire teachings. Then only you can access to that, you can access into the path of liberation. You can liberate your mind and free from the bondages, free from greed, hatred, and delusion, free from all the, coarse and subtler defilements, the mental defilements, which is lying dormant in the mind. So I think this much is enough for now, for today, about all these Four Noble Truths and aggregates. I just give you a very brief and summarized thing to understand it, but it is up to you now. You have to read and thoroughly understand it, and then you contemplate it into your daily life. So I leave it now, and I want that you should contemplate in your daily life to understand this deeper meaning and implications of Dhamma. So with this, I conclude here. May you all be well and happy. May the blessings of Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, the blessings of Bhadabhante and the Sangha surround your life with well-being and happiness. May all be happy. Sadhu,
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 sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much, Bhante, for a very profound explanation to cover us this very important topic in the field of wisdom. I have opened up the forum for question and answer. So please go ahead and type in your question. We will take few questions. Bhante, I know we are running a little late, but we will take a few questions. Bhante.
Yes, Angaji.
Bhante, yeah. Bhante, can you please talk about the suttas that you covered today in today's class, Bhante? There were more than one suttas that you touched upon.
Yeah, I touched upon three important sutta. The first three discourses of Lord Buddha. The first one, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. And then the second is Anatta Lakhana Sutta. And then the Aditta Pariyaya Sutta. These are the three cardinal discourses. And the first three discourses. And also to understand the sutta on the five aggregates, we covered the sutta called, just tell you now, it's called the Phena Pindupama Sutta, analogy of foam, a lump of foam. I have already given you the notes.
Yes, Bhante. Yeah, we have seen the notes that you have, Bhante. Thank you very much for those notes. Please go ahead with the questions related to the topic today. Bhante, there is already a request to go a little deeper on this topic in the future talks, Bhante. So we have to keep that in mind that we cover it sometime later.
Yeah. Maybe in the coming sessions, Anand Bhante can give a little bit more deeper Dhamma on this topic.
Yes, Bhante, yeah.
We request Bhante.
Yeah. Bhante, the next question is, in daily life, we create so many sankhara, but when we realize that we are creating sankhara, is that panya, Bhante? Just the realization of creating sankhara, is that panya? Is that development of panya?
Yeah. Yeah, if you realize it, but actually at the same time, you have to untie the knots. You have to remove that mental conditioning. Again, the path is the Noble Eightfold Path. Realizing is okay, one thing, and you have to practice it and know that these are the mental sankharas, and you don't generate neither attachment or nor disliking or aversion towards these sankharas. You just see as it is, the sankharas.
Thank you very much, Bhante. Bhante, then next question is, can you please link the Eightfold Noble Path with 5 aggregates? Where does the 5 aggregates fall into with respect to Eightfold Noble Path? We are talking Panya, but where do they really fall into? Can you please?
I have already explained that in the discourse. I think this person, you have not heard it properly. You should be mindful when I explain this. I already talked about that. Rupa, Vedana, and Sanya and Sankhara. Right there, suffering, how does come? You have to understand the Rupa, the cause of the formation of Rupa. How does that form arises? Rupa arises because of the elements, the nutrition, the aharas. When there is no ahara, there is no Rupa at all. And then to cessation of this Rupa, that path, the path is Noble Eightfold Path. Similarly, you understand Vedana, the Samudaya, how the Vedana arises, the causes, and how the Vedana ceases. The cessation of feelings right there. Don't look out in the external world. Just you have to see in your own life. The noble truth is there, right there in this body and mind. So Vedana, the cause of feeling, the cessation, and the path leading to the cessation. That is 4 noble truths. Then the Sanya. What is Sanya? The cause of Sanya, the cessation of Sanya, and the path leading to the cessation. Then the Sankharas. You understand what is Sankhara. I told you Sankhara is just like, give an example already. How a person who is searching for a heart, the core wood, and he's searching for it, and he doesn't get it. That is how our mind is conditioned with so many layers of mental formations. It is not because of this life. It has come all the way from previous many lives. The sankharas we have piled up. Some of you have very kushala sankharas, wholesome sankharas, conditioning. Say a child is born with kushala sankhara. A child which is so faithful and which is so, inclined when he sees coming to the vihara with the parents and look at the monks and he pay respects and is very gentle, very smart. At the same time, a child may be different. He is subject to anger, he is subject to restless. Why does it happen? Because of our sankharas, the past sankharas which we have accumulated over the long span of life. Then we have vijnana. We should understand how the vijnana arises. As I say, Chakku, Sota, Gana, Jiva, and Kaya, and Mano. How the vijnana arises, how the vijnana ceases, and what is the path leading to the cessations. Ultimately, this comes to directly in that path which is leading to the inside, to direct knowledge, the cessation of suffering. That is the Noble Eightfold Path.
Sadhu, Bhante. Thank you very much, Bhante. Bhante, this next question is the experience or is knowing the 4 noble truths subjective, Bhante? For every individual, it will be different. Is knowing 4 noble truths subjective, Bhante?
You mean
realization of 4 noble truths, will it be subjective, Bhante?
no? Subjective in what sense it is subjective? You mean some people?
I'm assuming, Bhante, that subjective meaning each individual will realize it or understand it differently. Is that how it is, Bhante? The 4 noble truths.
This is ultimate reality. It is not subjective. However, there may be different ways they understand or trying to correlate this the noble truths in their life. But ultimately, the noble truth is ultimate truths. They are paramatha satya, the universal truths. Dukkha, dukkha samudaya, dukkha nirodha, and dukkha nirodhagamini. Actually, we all have to understand that noble truths to enlighten, to be free from the bondages and to attain the ultimate freedom. We have to penetrate into these four noble truths. I don't think it is subjective, but it is universal. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Bhante. Bhante, is there a good way to attend or to concentrate the mind on Panchakanda? If we have to just meditate on Panchakanda, Bhante, how do you suggest one should go about it?
That's what you have to do vipassana, insight meditation. With samatha, you cannot penetrate or understand the khanda, panchakhanda as they really are. You have to develop your wisdom through contemplation, through insight meditation. No specific meditation. You have to go through that process, samatha and vipassana.
Bhante, I'll take a couple of more questions, Bhante. One is, even though we know that somebody is having good life is because of his past commands, and we feel jealous about it sometimes. How do we deal with this situation?
When you know that it is due to his past punya karma, then actually you should generate the thoughts of mudita, altruistic joy, a sympathetic joy, rather than jealousy. When you develop the sympathetic joy towards the person, then you feel there is no jealousy because they are just just opposite to each other. When you have the sympathetic joy, there's no question of jealousy will remain there. So you develop that sympathetic joy. Okay, you feel happy with others' happiness. You feel joyful if somebody is growing or progressing in his life. And then, in fact, you are safeguarding your own mind. By generating the thoughts of jealousy, what's the point of polluting our own mind and generating anger or dissatisfactions and more again you develop more craving. You want something which is you don't need sometime, you don't need at all. So when you have this sympathetic joy, then you have satisfaction, then your mind rests at peace. You don't have to proliferate. So the best thing is that you just watch your mind and generate that thoughts of, and rather you replace with these thoughts of sympathetic joy.
Sadhu, 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 Bhante.
Mudita bhavana.
Bhante, this would be the last question I will take for the day, Bhante. I know we are running against time here. When we engage in doing good things, like helping others or suggesting solutions to their problems, is that sankhara of attachment, Bhante? Are we attaching ourselves to something? Because we are engaging in solving problems, we are trying to do good things to others. Is that still attachment, Bhante?
The problem solve करना है attachment
So now in reply to this question, if you do good things with compassion, with wisdom, then surely there is no sankharas. But when you do things and you attach it and with not compassion, with attachment, then yes, you generate sankharas. So the main factor is here compassion, wisdom, and non-attachment. So when you do things with attitude of non-attachment, with the positive attitudes, then you are not generating sankharas. Anand Bhante want to say something, Bhante, on this. Kusala, akusala. Yeah. There are two possibilities, kusala sankhara, akusala sankhara. So if you are doing more kusala, then surely you have kusala sankhara, and which is good. But with wisdom, when you generate more akusalas with greed or with anger or with ignorance, and there is no wisdom, then surely it is akusala sankharas.
Thank you very much, Bhante. Bhante, I think there are a couple of questions which might be answered very simply, but may be important for the person to get the answer on it. What is the difference between Dukkha Nirodha and Dukkha Nirodha Gamini Patipada Marga? So between the Noble Truth, third and fourth. Can you please comment on that, Bhante, a little bit?
So the path and the road.
Yes, Bhante, yeah.
Yeah.
So the truth about Dukkha Nirodha and then the Dukkha Nirodha Gamini Patipada Marga.
Yeah,
What's the difference between those two?
I understood, Pankajji. Dukkha Nirodha is the goal. But to arrive at that goal, we have to follow the path. And that path is Dukkha Nirodha Gamini Patipada, the way leading to the cessation of dukkha. There is a path, Noble Eightfold Path. We have to work on that path to reach our destination. That is Nibbana, cessation of suffering. I think that should be enough.
Okay, thank you, Bhante. And I see one more similar kind of question. Bhante needs a little bit of explanation. What comes under Sammasati?
What comes?
Under Sammasati.
Under Sammasati. We have, under Sammasati, you have four foundations of mindfulness. Chattaro Satipatthana, Kaya Anupassana, Vedana Anupassana, Chitta Anupassana, and Dhamma Anupassana. They are the four foundations of mindfulness, and that is called Sammasati, right? Mindfulness.
Okay,
Satipatthana Sutta. Please read Satipatthana Sutta.
Okay, Bhante. Bhante, with that, I think I have come to taken up all the questions that were there. One more came up, Bhante. Let me read this question to you, Bhante.
This
would be the final one, Bhante. Yes, Bhante. If one contemplates everything with Four Noble Truths and Paticca Samutpada, does this include the development of Panya or Vipassana? Is this method enough to cessation of dukkha?
You can say both, huh? Bhante. And yeah, if it is have to be intellectual thinking, then it will not be vipassana or panya. It's kind of not enough to develop the vipassana panya, it has to be actualized, it has to be experienced. Yeah, the Four Noble Truths and Paticcasamuppada, it has to be actualized. Then only one experience and the panya and develop that insight. So, in ultimately, insight and vipassana bhante, they are the same bhante. Yeah, at one point they are actually the same. When you develop insight, that means you're actually developing wisdom with panya. So through vipassana meditation, you reach to that panya, and the panya which leads to vimutti or freedom. This is how it is. We cannot go to panya without vipassana. Without vipassana also you cannot reach to panya. So they are interrelated. And I now pass on to Anand Bhante to just summarize something the session.
बोल रहा है यहाँ कोई है क्या?
Any questions?
So out of these things, one question quickly I would like to add about Eightfold Path and to link Eightfold Path and Panchakhanda. Panchakhanda consists of Rupa and all the mental qualities. There is this Sankhara Khanda, which consists of Chetasikas, mental factors. So the Noble Eightfold Path, if you see, they are very powerful Chetasikas. Like right understanding is wisdom Chetasika, Panya Chetasika, and right thought is Vitaka, but that has to go with wisdom. And right speech, action, and livelihood, these three are the special Chetasikas called Samma Vacha, Samma Kamanta, and Samma Ajiva. With that name only, these Chetasikas are there. And Samma Vayama is Virya Chetasika, Samma Sati is Sati Chetasika, and Samma Samadhi is Ekagata Chetasika. So these are mental factors, Chetasikas, very, very, very powerful. And when they are within Panchakhanda only. With these very Chetasikas developing, you understand Panchakhanda. They are not something out of Panchakhanda, but from within Panchakhanda, we develop this understanding of Panchakhanda. So like that, we can link the Noble Eightfold Path is also part of Panchakhanda. But that will take us out of Panchakhanda to Nibbana, which is beyond Panchakhanda. Yeah, that I wanted to add. And what else can I add?
Sadhu Bhante, that was a very profound explanation.
So shall we conclude?
Yes, Bhante, yes. So we have taken up all the questions from today's session. Bhante.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Bhante Buddhadatta, we are grateful to you for your Dhammadana Bhante today. And with that, I will pass on the ball to Bhante Ananda to carry forward the further proceedings at Vihara Bhante. Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you very much, Pankajji, and thank you very much, Buddhadatta Bhanteji, for your wonderful discourse on Panchakhanda, because now the topics are moving around wisdom, the development of wisdom. So the Four Noble Truths, Paticcasamuppada, the Noble Eightfold Path, and that leading to Panchakhanda, understanding of Panchakhanda. Because everything that exists in the world, universe, you can reduce into these 5 groups. And when you understand these 5 groups, Panchakhanda, then you understand the universe. And when you see this as anicca, dukkha, anatta with wisdom, with vipassana panya, then you will say, oh, this is enough. This materiality and mentality, which is subject to anicca, dukkha, anatta, is not worth to hold on, because you can't hold on, because the holder is also changing, that which is held is also changing. So it is not possible to hold on to this. And holding on to this panchakhanda leads to dukkha. So one turns towards something which is not within panchakhanda, and that is nibbana. So to move to nibbana, you have to know where you are and what you have to live. So that's why we have to understand panchakhanda. Then once you know it, otherwise many people in the search of truth, they go from this panchakhanda, one khanda to that khanda to another khanda, seeking freedom. They are roaming within panchakhanda, and with the different kinds of ditthi, with different kinds of viewpoints, roaming still in panchakhanda, with very high levels of mind, high levels of concentration, high levels of experiences, supernormal experiences. And then they think that is ultimate freedom, but still it is in panchakhanda. So you can see the understanding of panchakhanda is so important, from the lowest level to the subtlest level of panchakhanda. It should be very clear, because we should not enter back door again into panchakhanda in the name of getting out of panchakhanda. So that is vipassana panya. Lord Buddha teaches all the 16 stages of insight, starting with the very nama rupa paricheda, that is knowing what exactly is rupa and what is mind. Beginning with that, 16 stages of vipassana jnanas, every one of them leading nearer and nearer to nibbana. So this is the understanding we have to develop, and this is not possible by just intellectual analysis. That also has good place, but that will not transform your mind. That can take you to experience, that can remove some of the misunderstandings which are concocted by thinking. Those can be removed by analyzing and thinking. But the deeper asavas, which are sleeping defilement, anusaya kilesa, for them you have to experience. That experience will break the real shells of these sleeping defilements. So that much I can add to this wisdom section. So wonderful course it is, comprehensive course on Buddhism, which is based on our Badavante's book, Comprehensive Course on Buddhism. That is the book. This is packed into this 3 months course. So you can also get this book from Mahabodhi Society. The soft copy has been shared with the participants.
Yes, Bhante, we have shared the soft copy with participants.
So Dhamma is very, very precious and very beautiful. No words can ever explain enough the taste of wisdom, the taste of Dhamma. And our gratitude goes to Lord Buddha for giving this immensely pure crystal Dhamma for us. So let us use it in our daily life, develop in this Dhamma. So with these words, I would also like to announce, I got these announcements from our manager, Vajira. On 20th October, we have Pavarana Purnima, that is the end of Vasa, end of 3 months Varsha Vasa for monks, and quite number of Upasakas and Upasikas also have taken not Vasa, but at least some kind of dedicated practice and attending very regularly these discourses and meditations. This end of Vasa on Pavarana Purnima 20th October, we will have morning program here at 9:30, and at that time we will also have distribution of 12 Buddha Rupas. You can see already some of the Buddha statues we have got, and another few will come. 12 Buddha statues we will be offering to viharas on that day. And on 24th October, that is Sunday, we have Katina Chivara Dana Utsava. In this Katina Chivara Dana Utsava, once in a year, only once conducted in one vihara where at least one bhikkhu has observed Varshavasa. So here devotees are fortunate. 24 bhikkhus and 84 Samaner Anagarikas had observed Varshavasa. So that's why they want to conduct Katina Chivara Danotsava here. On 24th, we start our program at 9:30 with Pindapata offering. Monks will go for Pindapata, and Upasakas, Upasikas they can offer. We will not go very far, but in our road in Kalidasa Marg, we will be going for Pindapata. And on that day, there will be offering of Katina Chivara and other requisites of monastery. And then on that day also, there will be Buddha Rupa offering. And we are inviting all the monks, especially in South India, for this Katina Chivara Danotsava. So these are the two programs for announcements. With this, we conclude here this morning session, and we will meet again at 12:45. 12:30 is too early every time, because after the lunch normally we have blessing ceremony and other things. 12:45 we will meet for Kannada discourse. 12:45ಕ್ಕೆ ಕನ್ನಡ ಪ್ರವಚನ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಯಮಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಉಪಾಸಕ ಉಪಾಸಕಿಯರು ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು 12:45ಕ್ಕೆ ಕನ್ನಡ ಪ್ರವಚನ ಕೇಳಬಯಸುವವರು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿ. Those who wish to listen Kannada discourse, continue, join at 12:45. So we conclude with metta. Sukhi bhaveyang nidukho ahang nechang ahang viya hitacha me sukhi hontu majhata chataverino imam higama ketami Sata hontu sukhi sada tato parang charajesu chakavale sujantu no. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. With this, we conclude. May you all be happy and well. May all beings share our merits and our metta. Namo Buddhaya.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Bhante, do I have your permission to close the online session, Bhante?
Thank you so much, Pankajji, for your wonderful organization always. Huh?
Thank you very much, Bhante, and great gratitude for the Dhammadana today. Thank
Sukhi
you very much.
Namo Buddhaya.
Namo.